Good morning, evening, afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark,
And I'm Zoe.
and we are the Board Adventurers. And once again, we are late to the game. This is our top 10 games that are new to us for the year 2024. And I know what you're thinking. This is January 2025. We wait until the month after to really know what games we really like for 2024.
Yeah.
We were watching a lot of the games that have come out, or the top tens from the previous year, and it just got us excited to just play more games. So we started off 2025 with a bang. We played some decently good games already, but we're gonna just talk about in this video the best games that we've played that are new to us in the year 2024. So again, this is a combination of games that got released to the mass in 2024 and games that came out previous years.
Yeah.
Because we can't honestly play all the games that came out just in 2024. If we had only limited this list to 2024, I don't know if I would have had a top 10. There was some games that were good, some games that were just okay.
Yeah.
But in general, what do you think about this year in terms of our own gaming?
Yeah, we played a lot of great games this year, more so than any other years in the past. There's a lot of games on this list that are in my top 50 of all time, and it's just like a series of a really good game every month. We pull out a game, it was like, oh, this is a great game. So it was a good year.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was looking at our top 50s we did in September, and that kind of snapshot in time as to what games that we played as of that time. And this list has kind of been upended a little bit.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those games have kind of shifted further down the list for newer games.
Yeah.
But this was a good year for gaming. I was able to limit my list, I believe, to I think I had 52 entries into my list that then I whittled down to, I think I'm gonna have 15, like top 10 plus maybe 5 honorable mentions. Because there's these games that I wanted to be in that top 10, but I just couldn't make it.
Nice.
What about you?
For me, I think there's about 25 games that could have been in the top 10, and now whittled that down to the 10. Now, I honestly say in my 10, the difference between enjoyability with my number 10 and like my number 3 is minuscule. These are all neck and neck for me. It was very hard to rank them. And they're going to be a little different from my top games of all time. But I just think they just got closer together. But yeah.
I think maybe generally I had the same idea, because I'm just looking at my list now. I had a clear top 4. Then from there, 5 to 8 were like that clear middle. And then 9 to 15 could be maybe shifted in and out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But okay, let's get started with this list. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So my number 10 is a 2-player game. I really enjoy 2-player games.
We did play a lot of 2-player games.
We played a ton of 2-player games. We did our top 10 2-player games of all time. And this one is a worker placement 2-player game that I really enjoyed. This is Targi. I was very impressed by Targi. I think it dropped down a little bit in terms of enjoyment for me, but I'm still really impressed that they were able to build a worker placement game in a 2-player game. And they did it in a very unique way, in which where you could put your workers based off of where pieces are.
Oh, nice.
And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I just thought it was a very clever game. It gets old for me a little bit, more playthroughs, but I still find it very enjoyable.
Nice.
But yeah, that's my number 10, Targi.
Nice. Yeah, Targi's good. Yeah. All right, my number 10, I believe it was published by Pandasaurus, and it was more released into the US market this year specifically. This is Far Away for my number 10. Far Away has gotten a lot of plays in our group this past year, just because it is so quick to play, so quick to teach, but the choices that you have are just so good in this game, because you're just, all you're doing is you're taking a card from, you're taking a card, you're all placing it out, flipping simultaneously. Whoever's the lowest number gets to play first. They get to take anything from the outside, put into their hand. If the card that you've played is higher in number than your previous card, you get to draw one of these like treasure or like these like path tokens, these
Mhm.
map tokens, map cards, and then for every map that you have, you get to draw another one, and then you can take one and then use it as its effect. Far Away provides a lot of choices. What I'm noticing with my top 10 is that there's a lot of choices
Mhm.
that you're given in these games, and that's what makes good games to me. So that is my number 10. That is Far Away.
Nice. My number 9 is another two-player game.
Ooh, another
Yeah,
two.
one that I've really enjoyed this year, and the more I think about it, it grows in
Mm.
my appreciation for it. This is Sobek two-player game.
Oh, you did love Sobek.
I love Sobek. I'm a big fan of Cathala's design. I love the Ankh piece aspect of Sobek, and that really adds a lot to it. In which like you can choose a tile based off the orientation of the Ankh piece,
Yeah.
and then you're moving it around and putting your opponent in a position to choose what you want them to choose in a way. And I like that aspect of it. And I like that that's combined in this set collection type of game in which you gain abilities based off of what you collect.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just really
just
works for me.
yeah, that especially if you're playing with like the god
Mhm.
tiles too. Like those little abilities just add just so much more variability into your game.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. It's a great two-player set collection game that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So that's my number 9.
Nice. My number 9 is a game from Renegade. We played this early this year, and we got really into it for a time, and it would have maybe made my top 5 if we had played a little bit more maybe this year.
Yeah.
This is kind of like where it's fallen to. This is Veil of Eternity.
Oh, got it.
Veil of Eternity, again, just simple actions coming with a lot of crunchy choices. So in Veil of Eternity, again, you take these you have like these 5 different elements. Then you're going in turn order, trying to you take one card, you'll reserve one card with your symbol, and then on your turn you can either take that card into your hand, you can play it in front of you if you have the cost.
Yeah.
You could sell the card for whatever symbol, whatever like element that is, that amount. But the beauty of it comes with the tokens, because you're only allowed 4 tokens and you can never make change. So it's like I have 4 6s, but in really, like, if I need to buy a card that's only worth 2, I'm overpaying by a lot.
Yeah.
And it's that choice of, okay, I don't want to really spam 6s that much because I don't need that many. I need to get lower numbers. And then just cards will kind of cycle into each other because they'll have ongoing abilities. And each of the different elements kind of functions differently. Like, again, fire goes a little bit, they go like really hard into point collection, and like you're trying to score to 60 in this game. And then like green is like you're trying to get out these high value cards. They provide a whole bunch of great choices, and like the push and pull of, okay, I want this one card, but I know my opponent wants this green card. I have to take this so that they can't take it. And then it's the same thing. It's a ladder drafting.
Yeah.
So it's like I go one way and then it comes back the other way. So I'll take the last card that's available. That's always a great mechanism in a game. I'll always love that in a game. So that is my number 9. That is Veil of Eternity.
Nice. Veil of Eternity just missed my list. And I think I know. I think it's based off of what you said. We haven't played it.
Higher than I did.
I did, but it's been so long since we played it that I started to forget about the game. And it's one of those like, I need to play it again.
Okay, yeah. It's been a while since we played it.
Yeah, and I really did enjoy it. That was very early in the year.
Yeah.
But my number 9 is a deduction game that we played for the first time this year. This is Fractured Sky.
9 or 8?
This is 8. This is 8. My bad.
That's cool.
This is Fractured Sky. I'm a big fan of deduction games. Area control games are usually hit or miss for me. But I like the combination of area control and deduction in this for me, in terms of putting down a value face down, and you're basing your actions that you're doing off of what you think the value of everyone else played. And you're fighting for points and resources, but you don't know where the points and resources are, and you're using deduction to figure that out. I really like that aspect of the game. I think there's some aspects of the game that could be cleaned up a little bit, to be honest. But I think when the game is singing, it's singing really loud.
Yeah.
It really
Mhm.
works, and that's
Yeah.
why it kind of shots up, even though I think it's a flawed game.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my number eight, Fractured Sky.
I'm going to talking about it because eight's my Fractured Sky. For
Oh wow, that is hilarious.
Yeah. Fractured Sky really did hit me too this year. Um, I, I I don't typically like deduction area. Like the idea of area control with deduction doesn't seem like a very good mechanic combination.
Mm-hmm.
But after we played it with like max of 5, I was like, wow, this is such a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of like trying to get information. So I'm paying resources to get information that my opponent might not want.
Yeah.
There's always a free location that tells you where one of the the star pieces are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So you could always just try to like overload on one piece.
Yeah.
So the idea of Fractured Sky again is that you have starships that you can place, but if you exceed 10, every one of your starships gets subtracted the difference from 10.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't place your 10, 9, 8 because then it would be subtracted like 17. So everything would be 0.
Yeah.
So everything would just be way low. So in you're trying to put out high enough numbers in combinations with these like towers and fortresses, or fortresses they are called, so that your power in a location exceeds your opponent. But you don't know what your opponent has played in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what makes Fractured Sky so good. This is my number 8. This is Fractured Sky.
Nice. My number 7 is Raw. It is a game that I wish we played more this year, actually, but it just works for what it is. This kind of auction game. It's really auction in its simplest form, and I really just enjoy. I love activating the Raw, making people do certain things.
Yeah.
It just kind of really works for me. I don't know how much more to say about it. Just an auction game that I really enjoyed this year.
Yeah. No, I don't want to be a broken record here, but 7 is Raw for me too. Raw was so good. We have a review for Raw.
It's going up after this.
Yeah, I think we have it going after this video, but you can watch that review. But we play the heck out of Raw this year. Our group loved playing this game. It's easy again to pull out. There's 3 rules regarding it. It's just you can either draw a tile, you can invoke Raw, or you can use one of your god tiles if you have it.
Yeah.
And it's just like everyone just gets so excited when like it gets closer to the end of that track.
Yeah.
And then you get that feeling like Raw. Especially if you have flipped all of your tiles. So like if you've used up your 3 auction tiles already and you want everyone to just bust, you just want to get that Raw drawn as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So you're just like cheering for it to come out, and then it never comes out.
I love the push your luck aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
The I can take those pieces, but I want to see what else comes out.
Yeah, and then by the time it comes back to you, those pieces are gone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, why?
I know. It's a great game.
Yeah, Raw's great. I'm with you on this one. That's my number 7.
That is hilarious.
I wonder how much crossover we're really going to have on this. I don't know, actually. I feel like, okay, we'll have like 1 or 2, I think. More.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
My number... This is 6 is a card game that we played early this year that I didn't think I was going to enjoy as much as I did, but I really enjoyed it. This is a Forest Shuffle. This is Earth drilled down into a simple card game. And I love the amount of cards in the deck, how many different cards there are in the deck, but also how much symmetry you can add in it. And that you and your opponents can be doing totally different things from a game to game, and it's still viable to win. I enjoy that aspect of it a lot. I just thought it was a very, very good card game. But yeah, that's my number 6, Forest Shuffle.
Yeah, Forest Shuffle's good.
It's your number 6?
No, it's not my number 6.
Okay.
Yeah. It would be crazy, yeah. My number 6 is a Devere game. We reviewed it on the channel, and I honestly thought it would make my top 5. But as I kept going, I was like, oh, some of these are going to just push it out. This is the White Castle. we played the White Castle again very early this year. We played, I think, a lot of the games that we have on these lists early, just because later in the year we had like family stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
So White Castle is a game where you're at the Nemiji Castle in Japan. I forget the name of the castle. I'm sorry if I mispronounced everything there. But you're kind of like you're trying to score points based on your gardeners in your garden area, your courtesans that are in the actual castle, and then your warriors that are in the training field. And you have 9 turns in this game, and you're trying to stretch that 9 turns out as long as possible by trying to compound effects into each other. So like you might want to try to get your courtesan into the second level. That second level gives you the effect of your lantern. The lantern lets you place your gardener. Your gardener gives you an effect.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do in this game, and like this game just has so many crunchy choices.
Yeah.
And it's a little long for 9 turns, but I do like it for what it is. And it's still a great game. I haven't played the Matcha expansion for it. I know I want to, but yeah, at some point, yeah, we'll get to it. But this is my number 6. This is White Castle.
My number 5 is a deck building game that is a classic deck building game that I played for the first time this year. This is Dominion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a game you introduced to me.
Dominion.
I have close to zero interest in a lot of deck building games. It just doesn't do it for me sometimes. This one really, really works, and I think the reason why I enjoy Dominion and it's this high on my list for this year is because it is a simple deck building game, as opposed to a lot of the deck building games I've played before was trying to add other mechanics with deck building. I think deck building in its purest form, like Dominion, really, really works. I like that you have 10 cards that you slowly just buy it out and increase your deck. You see what your cards your opponents are going for, and until you build out your deck, and then you really just go for it for the points.
Right.
I really like that aspect of it. I like that you could shuffle out your 10 cards, or how many cards you buy it out in Dominion.
Yeah, it's like you could pick any set you want to like come out. The rule book has different combinations you can use, but you can just pick any random one you want to.
I enjoy that, so it feels like a different game every time I play it.
Yeah.
And I know there's a crap ton of expansions. I'm new to Dominion, so I'll dive into that later, but I'm excited to. And that's why it's number 5.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I'm glad you like Dominion. I had a feeling you would like Dominion.
Yeah, I was shocked by it.
Yeah. All right, my number 5, I have a feeling is going to be higher up on your list. My number 5 is the. Oh, no, I was like, this is one of the co-op games I have on my list. My number 5 is probably. Yeah, it's probably one of the longer games we've had here. This is Sleeping Gods. We went through one full campaign of Sleeping Gods early this year. We finished, I think, in March.
Yeah.
I want to say.
I think we started in January.
Finished in March. And that first playthrough, that first campaign still hits me. I'm just like, I think about it sometimes at night, and I'm like, man, that was such a good round. I'm just like, oh, I want to play another round of Sleeping Gods, but that thing is a table beast.
It is, yeah.
That thing took up so much table space.
It really did, and it was just the 2 of us.
I know, and like I can't imagine having it with more people. But the choices, like the adventure that you feel in Sleeping Gods, I can't really relate it to anything else. Like a lot of maybe larger co-op games go hard into the battle aspect, but in Sleeping Gods, it doesn't feel like it's a battle.
No.
It feels more of like you're exploring and then you're trying to figure out how to resolve things as they go.
Yeah.
But Sleeping Gods was really, really fun. I want to get another campaign through at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't know when we're gonna get time to do that.
No.
But if there was a Sleeping Gods, like our group started to get into that, I would definitely jump in for that. But this is my number 5. This is Sleeping Gods.
Nice. So my number 4 is another crossover. This is the VR game that I played for the first time this year. This is White Castle. Really enjoy White Castle. And then you touched on it a little bit when you were talking about before. And what's really enjoyable for White Castle for me is that it's a great efficiency engine.
Oh, yep.
It's about prolonging your turn and doing the most that you can with the limited actions that you have. The first time I played it completely wrong. And I was like, I don't get why this game is enjoyable. Then after a while, I was like, oh, I need to be able to do as many things as possible. I need to set myself up to have big turns.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to do every turn that you play this game.
Yep.
And it just really works for me. How it just kind of, how it connects together. So many, like, because you mentioned the 3 different spots in the game.
Yeah.
You can connect them all in a turn.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard, but you can do it, and it's very satisfying when you connect.
And a lot of times it takes that daimyo. You always have to spend that daimyo, but you never have enough daimyo.
No.
It's like I need the 2 daimyo to transfer this for a resource. I don't have enough daimyo.
When we first started playing it, there was a track at the top. It was like, how do you even get across the whole track?
I don't even know.
And then it was like, I think we played a game where someone got really far. I was like, oh, that's how you do it.
I think they got into fall. And I was like, how did you do that? That's insane.
You just got to lay things on top of each other and get that. And I really like that.
And I think the combination of like the lantern too, because that inert lantern ability, the more you can stack under that lantern, the crazier it gets, because you get so much out of that lantern.
Yeah, it really solidified for me, especially this and Lost Ruins of Arnak, which seems like very different games, but they're very similar to me, and that they're both efficiency engines games, and that's how you play it. Anytime there's a game that's like, this is an efficiency engine, that's a game for me.
Nice.
So that's my number 4, White Castle.
Nice. My number 4 is the most recent game I played at the end of last year. And it was a game that I bought at PAX Unplugged. This is Kinfire Delve.
Oh, nice.
Kinfire Delve, I have played so much of recently. If we had done our 2-player list now, this game would be very high on this list.
Wow.
The whole idea of Kinfire Delve is that you have a character, or you could play solo or you can play with 2. I played both. They're both equally solid.
Yeah.
You have a boss that you're fighting, and then the boss is in the middle of the board, and you have 4 cards around it. And you're trying to get to the bottom of a well. You're trying to delve into the well, hence the delve. So you have a deck, right? And that deck has a whole bunch of challenges and events in there.
Yeah.
When on your turn, there's 4 cards around the boss, you pick one, and it's a type of challenge that you have to complete. If you can't complete, so like you're going to play cards from your hand that have a certain ability and a certain power. In order to take on that challenge, say the challenge is a red card, I need to play a red card from my hand. That's the type of challenge. It's like a combat challenge. And then blue, I think, is like knowledge challenge. And I think green is like some sort of like other type of challenge. But you have to match the color, and then you're gonna power check.
Yeah.
One cool thing though is that if you're playing with 2-player, so say you're doing the challenge for red, I can boost your number by discarding a red card from my hand.
Yeah.
So I can help you to finish that challenge. If you finish a challenge, you can delve, meaning that you can discard cards from the top of the deck, from the well deck, and then it goes into the discard. When you get to the bottom of the well deck, you can fight the master, like the boss in the center. And then they'll take these, I think they're called gauntlet cards, and then they have 4 new cards that are around it. And you're trying to hit the boss, but the boss is immune to every color until you beat the 4 cards around it.
Okay.
I have yet to win this game. This game is so hard, but it is so satisfying. Going, like, the idea of just delving into, like, the idea of delve, where you're discarding cards from the deck, all those cards you're not going to see. So each game, so whenever you finish a challenge, the top card of the well deck gets flipped over. That's the new challenge. You're not going to see the same cards like in your game, and you're going to see different cards every game, and they're going to have different things.
Yeah.
This game has been astoundingly good.
Nice.
And I think I'm going to pass this on to you. I think you should play this game.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is worth a play.
Nice.
And the card quality, like I don't care a lot of times for art and card quality.
Yeah.
The quality of these cards are so good. Like they got a sheen
Nice.
on them. It is ridiculous. This is my number 4. This is Campfire Delve.
Nice. My number 3 is a game that I knew I was going to enjoy this game before I even played it. One, just the rule set of it, I was like, ooh, this is definitely for me. 2, the theme of it, I was like, oh, this is 100% for me. This is Comic Hunters.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You don't know, grew up collecting comics. So this was, and I love drafting in games.
Yeah.
And Comic Hunters is literally 4 rounds of drafting comic book covers.
Yeah.
And scoring points based off of that. It really, really works. And the way the drafting, is different from round to round is really fun too. It works. I don't think there's any specific drafting that kind of runs away with it. It's like, oh, this should have been the game. They're all equally, close to equally kind of fun. And for me, there's an added aspect of it, whereas like, especially the first time I played it, I just like draft the card and be like, I had this cover. Yeah. And I was like, that's kind of cool for me. Great. I really enjoyed it. It kind of hit a nostalgia thing for me that games don't generally hit for me. Now I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's my number 3, Comic Hunters.
Comic Hunters is my 11.
Oh, wow.
It's only because we had just played it like those couple times.
Yeah.
Like midway through the year, and just have not tabled it. But I do love the drafting aspect of this game.
Yeah.
I just, like each of the things just, like, it's weird because it's similar to Stamp Swap in a way. Yeah. It has the same 3-round structure, and it's kind of like, but it's like, this one is just pure drafting as opposed to the other one is split and choose.
Yeah.
And just the drafting just felt so fun. It was like, I need to take, I like the slide puzzle one the most, I think, where it was like, I was trying to slide it in, but I need to take all of one symbol. But I was like, how do I get the most out of this one symbol?
Yeah.
I can't do that because now you've eliminated 2 of the cards from that side. So now I have to figure out another way to get the the cards that I need.
Yeah.
And then collecting the symbols is drafting is just so fun. I need to play more Comic Hunters. I think it would rise if we had played it more.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but my number 3 is again one of the later games we've played this year, and this wouldn't have made my list if like for the first couple times we've played it, but the last like few times we did, it just started to sing for me, and it just rocketed up. This is a Simone Luciani game.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Nestor Mangonia. I shouldn't keep mentioning that. I think in our review we didn't mention you, Nestor, but I'm sorry about that. This is Darwin's Journey.
Yeah.
I don't even. I can't believe it's at 3. I was reviewing everything. I was like, is it really at 3? Yeah, it's at 3.
Nice.
I think there's just some magic in Nestor and Simone's like designs where it feels like there's one thing that cascades into a whole bunch of other things. But in the very beginning, it feels like you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like I want to relate this again to Grand Austria, which was my number 1 game from last year. It feels like in the beginning, like I don't have enough rooms, I don't have enough food, and I don't have enough people. But then at somewhere by the end of the game, it's like I have way too many choices. And it's the same thing with Darwin's Journey. It's like I don't have enough seals. I need seals to get my characters to do other things. I don't have enough movement on the beagle. I'm gonna keep losing points by being behind the beagle. I don't have enough, enough envelopes to get me more resources later in the game. And then by round 5, it's like, do I want to move mine to the end of the beagle? Or do I want to get the 7 points for my 6 seal? And then it becomes like from the very low to the very high. I think this game is gonna rocket up my list. I want to play that Firelands expansion that comes with this game. This was my number 1 anticipated game for the year, and it did not disappoint. It would have disappointed in those first 2 plays, but those last couple were definitely, it was an eye opener.
Nice.
This is my number 3. This is Darwin's Journey.
Good stuff. My number 2 is another crossover.
Darwin's Journey?
No. This is Far Away.
Wow.
The more I think about Far Away, I think it just hits a lot of things for me. One, I do like light games that knows what they are. this game could have easily added a bunch of mechanics to muddy it up, and it really is just drafting out and playing cards.
Yeah.
And the whole added aspect of, do you want the next card to be higher or lower than what you had before, and the added benefits of it. But what really, really makes the game for me is the scoring backwards. And it's a simple mechanic, but it really changes how you think of the game, the flow of the game, and what you choose. And there's no other game that feels like this. And that's what really shot up for me. There's no other, because there are a bunch of deduction games I like, and there's a bunch of worker placement games I like, but you can really compare it to other games. They get the same feel. There's no other game that feels like Far Away.
Yeah, because it's like a variables, like it almost feels variable scoring because you don't know what you're scoring until the end of the game.
Yeah, it's true. It's making you think of a board game or a card game differently than any other card game I've ever played. It's a simple, you score backwards.
Yeah.
But you normally don't think that way. So it really changes everything to the point where when we try to introduce it to people and go like, you score backwards, and they start playing, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
It really is a unique way of thinking of playing board games. So
because like the symbols that you score aren't going to be the same symbols that someone else is going to score.
Yeah.
Right. So like it creates that idea of like, I create my own scoring condition at the end of the game. But like, how do I do it and with what?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a great mechanism.
It's so good. But yeah, that's my number 2. Far Away.
My number 2. Oh boy, this is a spicy one.
Oh.
This is in my top 10 of all time, and it's fallen to number 2. So I had this game. I started this. So I finished Gloomhaven this year.
Oh, okay.
And so I started the successor to this game. This is Frosthaven as my number 2.
Nice.
I haven't played Frosthaven in a couple months since we did that. We did our top 10s of all time. But Frosthaven still hits. I still remember the story that I was going through, the buildings that I've already built, the characters that I've, in a sense, unlocked as I went going, and the kind of like the story that I was drifting towards. It was compelling to me at the time, and it's still high on this list now because I do want to finish the storyline. But I realistically looked at my 1 and 2, and I thought to myself, this number 1 is the one that should be at number 1, and that's why Frosthaven has fallen over to 2.
Nice.
But Frosthaven's still a great game. It's an expensive game, so I wouldn't just go out and buy it just willy nilly. I definitely see if you have a friend maybe that already has it. I think you could, if you want to play Gloomhaven, say online, it's similar enough that you get the idea of how a scenario will run. Frosthaven takes that and it adds stuff outside the scenario. And I don't want to ruin it for you if you want to get around to it, but it has a lot more stuff than Gloomhaven has. But yeah, this is my number 2. This is Frosthaven.
Nice. My number 1.
Do you want to do honorable mentions?
Oh, honorable mentions. Stuff that just missed my list. Veil of Eternity, which I mentioned before. Sky Team, which is a 2-player game that I enjoyed. It was cool. Sky Rise, a big auction game that was a fun playthrough. Let's Go to Japan, which I think
Let's Go to Japan didn't make your list?
No, it needs more playthroughs. It was okay. It needs more playthroughs.
I know you liked it more than I did.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. But those are the honorable mentions. And there's 2 specific honorable mentions of games I played only on BGA that I haven't played on the table, played it for the first time in 2024. One is Cosmoctopus. It's a worker placement engine building game. The first time I played it, I was like, this is okay. Then after a while, I was like, do I love this game? I really enjoyed it. So if I ever see it for a good price, I'll probably purchase that. And this game that's not out in the States yet is Naishi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's a 2-player deduction card battling game.
It's out of Japan?
I don't know where it's out of, but it's not in the States yet. It's coming out in the States this year.
Oh, okay.
And I'm immediately purchasing that because if I played it on the table, it would be my top 3 of all time that I played. Top 3 this year that I played.
Oh, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's not all time. Top 3 this year.
Okay.
But yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Yeah, nice.
But my number 1 game of the year, I don't think this comes as a surprise to you at all.
I think I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah.
This is Sleeping Gods.
Yeah.
I love this game.
Yeah.
It started off 2024 with a bang because that was like one of the first games we played.
Yeah, that was good.
And The only reason why I purchased this game is because it was on sale on Nerds Day, one random thing, and I was like, all right, I'll buy Sleeping Gods, see what this is about. And it's my top really part of my top 10 games of all time. I've never played a game like it. It's if you don't know, it's an adventure exploration game, story driven, and the enjoyment of the game comes out of just exploring islands, figuring out what's there, reading the story of the world, and making choices of where to go and where to explore next, and what else you find in the world. That's the enjoyment of the game. I'm trying to be vague to not spoil anything. I don't even want to spoil the plot of the game, but that's the enjoyment of the game. It's a very, very, very well written game that also gives you a ton of agency in what to do. I really enjoy that. It gives you clues. It gives you things to explore, collect, hold on to, and be like, what does this mean for the future of this world?
Right.
And it's incredibly replayable.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned like starting up another campaign. I was like, I know there's a sequel to this, and I was like, man, there's still so much game left in this one. It's unexplored. There's islands we haven't gotten
went through a quarter of that map.
Yeah.
Like, at most, I think a quarter of that map.
I think that's generous.
Yeah, maybe 10% of that map.
Yeah. It's infinitely replayable for me.
It's crazy. Yeah. I don't even know how there was so much like plot in that. I was like, we didn't even see this one island, like all the way over on this side.
Yeah. And the story is really good. It's very well written. It made me buy like 2 other Red Raven games.
Yeah.
Immediately. I was like, this game is amazing. But yeah, that is my number 1, Sleeping Gods.
That's a great choice. I had a feeling your Sleeping Gods was your 1.
Yeah.
My honorable mentions, I'm going to go down to 15 because I'm just so sad that these games didn't make it. My number 15 was Everdell. I finally played Everdell this year once. If I had played more of it, of this big box here, I have a feeling this would have made top 10. This is gonna be like a Darwin's journey. It's gonna keep climbing, I think, with more plays. But I just haven't played it enough.
Everdell is good.
Yeah. My number 14 was Massive Darkness 2. We played that too. For a CMON game, this was the most compelling CMON game I played.
Nice.
I played Zombicide. I played Marvel Zombies. I played what's it called? Project Elite.
Yeah.
And all these like figures moving on a board, fighting like like an enemy. It's fun. But Massive Darkness 2 did it differently. It felt like an RPG. I felt like I was a character and I was developing myself, during the game.
Yeah.
And that was the cool part about Stars. The only thing is, I only played once, so this would have climbed up too if that was the case. Edo was my number 13.
Wow.
I don't normally put party games, and I thought this would have made my top 10.
Yeah.
Edo was a lot of fun. It's like fun facts with the mind combined. And I do like my fun facts. It's just again, we only played it once, and we only played it with one group, so. The more I think I table it, the more I think it'll climb up. We talked about Comic Hunters at 11, but 12 was the gang. Man, I played poker when I was in high school, college. This definitely hit that endorphin of playing poker again, but you're doing it cooperatively. And I know there was a lot of people this year, especially some of the other bigger YouTubers. They put gang in their top 10s, top 5s, and it definitely deserves to be there because it definitely feels like this is the way to introduce people that like poker into the hobby, and this would be the game I would go with.
Nice.
And again, Comic Hunters again was at 11, but my number 1, you probably know what my number 1 is. This is a crossover. This was the game that just missed my top 10 of all time, and now it's going to be in my top 10 at this point. This is from Lookout, I believe. This is Forest Shuffle.
Yep.
Forest Shuffle, we played it a couple more times since, that top 10, and it just sings. Again, the choices are just so simple in this game. You can either draw 2 cards, or you can play a card and, discard cards from your hand at the cost. And then if you have a certain symbol that matches that card, you get the added bonus at the bottom. It's very puzzly in that way. And then the way you score points, like you could score points on trees, you can score points on animals adjacent to the tree or above the tree.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how many trees do I want to make out, or do I want to, put out? How many animals do I want to put on each one? What's my scoring, idea? Do I want effects, from mushrooms on the bottom? Like every card that I draw, I want to play, and it gives me that hit of Earth again. But to me, this is an easier game to pull out. It's an easier game to set up.
Yeah.
I would prefer this personally over Earth right now.
Same.
And yeah, we haven't played the Alpine expansion for Forest Shuffle.
No.
I do want to play that. But Forest Shuffle has been, just a great, amazing game this year. If you haven't played it, I would recommend going out, trying it out. But this is my number one. This is Forest Shuffle.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that is our top 10 games new to us in 2024. Thank you guys for watching. We'd love to hear the games that you guys play or would recommend for us to play that came out in 2024 that we haven't gone to yet.
Yeah, that's plenty.
There it is, a ton.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm Zoe.
I'm Mark.
I'll see you on the next adventure.
2025.